This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Welcome back to Racing Action Today, and we're here again at the Limerock Park Vintage Festival. And believe me, it has been one outstanding event. In today's show, we're going to have some very interesting cars, and I'm sure you're going to like what you see. I think you better sit back and relax as we enjoy this Vintage Festival and talk to the people who make it happen. Yes, we have Ralph Solomon with us with this beautiful red Ginetta. And I'll tell you, this car is stunning. And I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
A little bit. It's a 61 G4. It's actually the oldest G4 still surviving, serial number 20. So as far as I know, what research I've done, there's no older one on the road or on the racetrack.
Well, I'll tell you, you never know that it's that old because it is just stunning. Did you restore this car?
I didn't personally, but it has been restored, and it was just recently, I guess, re-restored. I had a little off-track excursion in it a year ago. So this is going to be its first time on the track since last summer. It's got a fresh paint job, and it's going to be sort of a break-in weekend. You know, I'm not sure how well it's going to run. Hopefully all the parts will stay on, nothing will fall off.
What kind of motor does it have?
It's got a Ford motor in it, Ford 1100cc motor.
And what group you in, Ralph?
This car is running in Group 4.
Group 4? Okay. Yep. Yeah, I've seen these Ginetta cars around, and everyone I've talked to just loves them.
It's a spectacular car. I mean, the first time I saw one was, I guess 3 years ago at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, and I got passed by one. And I went, wow, that's fast, and that's so pretty. So then it was a year search to find one, and finally did, and took us a while to get it in race shape. And I did very well with it. I won a couple of races, and have had a lot of fun with the car.
Now, have you been to Limerock here before?
Many times, yeah, many times.
It's kind of your home track?
Yeah, it's only an hour and 15 minutes from the house. So,
where are you from?
Katona, New York.
Oh, yeah, I know the area. Yeah, I know the area well. Well, we want to thank you for having a word with us. I'm sure you're going to do well.
Thank you.
And we're going to keep an eye out for you out there.
So does everybody else. That's the problem.
Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Ralph.
Take care.
You were great.
Thank you.
Yes, we have Butch O'Connor with us with this MGA. 1958, I believe, and I bet you know a little bit about this car, Butch.
Yeah, this is it's a race car, a historic race car. We built it up some years ago. I bought it from a very dear friend of mine who said he had to sell it to an Irish guy because it had the Irish racing stripes on it. So I bought it a couple years ago, and it's a fun little car. Not the fastest one out there, but it handles real well, and it's a lot of fun to drive.
Where are you from, Butch?
I'm from Sparta, New Jersey, which is about 2.5 hours from here.
Well, this is almost your home track.
Yes, Limerock has been my home track. I've raced here in various cars for more than 20 years. So I've done a lot of laps at this track, and it does feel like a home track to us, yes.
Yeah. Now, do you go to anywhere else in the country?
Yeah, we race at the South Jersey courses, New Jersey Motorsports Park, Watkins Glen, Summit Point, West Virginia, Virginia International Raceway, quite a few other places.
Wow. Now tell me, how does this car, what group you in?
I'm in Group 3, and that is where all the MGAs and some of the so-called slower cars are. But we're running pretty well, and we actually have a couple of Ferraris in our group, so it's not that slow.
Well, hey, you're in good company.
We are in good company. Yeah, it's a good little car.
Yeah, we just love coming up here. These events are something special. I wish they could do this more than once a year, you know?
It's hard to do. An awful lot of work goes into putting an event like this on, and the track does a wonderful job. The staff here works for months and months and months before the event in order to make it possible to put all these cars in this track. So it's it's a great event. We're happy to be here and look forward to coming back again next year.
I'll tell you, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I don't know what to look at next.
Well, there's a lot of wonderful cars here and a lot of wonderful drivers. One of the people who is here is John Fitch, and John, as you know, raced Formula One and Le Mans, and is one of the finest engineers as well as race car drivers in the United States.
I've had some lengthy conversations. He is just an unbelievable person, I'll tell you. He's just like a walking dictionary.
Yeah, he really does know it all, and he's done it all, and he's, like I said, a terrific person and a good mentor. He's taught a lot of us a lot about racing, and it's a great thing. So if you get a chance to see him, by all means, do so. He'll give you a good story.
We will. I want to thank you, Butch. You've really been great to talk to, and we're going to keep an eye out on that racetrack to see how you do.
Well, hopefully we'll get it up a little faster. We've got to do a little timing to make it work right. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Every now and then you run across a very special car, and believe me, this Talbot is something special. Yes, we have David Duda with us, who have just moved over a car to this absolutely gorgeous Talbot. I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car, David.
Well, I do. This is a 1948-49 Talbot Lago T26C, and this particular car is the DA variant, which was basically the last Talbot Lago built.
Wow, that's significant.
Well, this car was built as part of the factory team. It was 1153 and 54 were the ultimate configurations, double overhead cam, 6-cylinder motors, 4.5 liters. Runs Weber carburetors and basically uses 2 magneto ignition systems in it. So it was a pretty wild car.
No, they couldn't have made many of these cars.
Actually, the total run of Grand Prix cars was very short, but the ultimate configuration, the DA, there were 2 to 3 cars built in total.
Now, where did they race these cars?
This is a European Grand Prix car. So this car raced in the 49-50 Grand Prix season. Monaco, there's on the board you'll see a picture of Monaco, driven by Fifi Etienne. Swiss Grand Prix, Belgium Grand Prix, Netherlands Grand Prix, finished second if I remember correctly. And then went down to the Christmas race in Argentina in 1950 and was down there racing where the 2 Bugatti factory cars finished first and second. Unfortunately, no one knows which car finished first and which cars finished second. But then the company went into receivership and the car was sold actually while it was in Argentina.
Wow, that's quite a history. Now, how did you ever acquire this car?
Actually, I acquired it from a friend of mine, Peter Giddings, who's quite a noted vintage racer. And Peter owned this car, raced it in New Zealand a lot, Australia, and then in California. And a few years ago, we were able to come to terms on the car. So it's a really exciting car.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, the car is stunning. I have never seen one in the condition this car is in.
Well, I appreciate that. I think between the Type 35 series Bugattis and the Talbot Lago, classic Grand Prix form cars, from an artistic standpoint, they're wonderful machines. They're absolutely beautiful. So this is a real marriage of aesthetic beauty as well as high levels of performance.
I'll tell you one thing, you certainly have good taste.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, we're going to keep an eye out for you out there. I know you're going to have some fun today, and I have to commend you. You own 2 gorgeous cars.
Well, thank you very much. And we're headed to Watkins Glen after this, so we're looking forward to running the Northeastern Corridor, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to like it up there. But Limerock is something special, and I'm sure you're going to end up liking this track.
Oh, I already do.
Thanks a lot. You were great. Thanks a lot, David. You were. Yes, we have Larry Doe with us, who owns this gorgeous red number 78. I don't know if it's a Formula Atlantic, but I had a good feeling you know a little bit about this car.
This is a 1978 Formula Atlantic Ralt RT1, serial number 127. I've owned the car since 1987, and this last July was the first time we got it back together and had it on the track.
Wow, I'll tell you, the car is absolutely gorgeous. Was this something you were always looking for, this kind of a car?
Yeah, I'd been looking for one of these for a while and had a Corvette at the time and decided this might be more fun. I'm also really fortunate to have Rick Bell to be willing to drive it, as he was the original owner and did race it professionally in the late 70s.
Yeah, I've seen Rick up here many times. He certainly knows how to drive a race car, but having the history of driving this car is really something special. We got to call him in. Rick, would you want to come in here and give us a few words about this car? Hi, Rick. How are you? Good, good. I understand you're reunited with this car.
Yeah, 30-year reunion.
30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, we raced this car from, my dad bought it new in 78, and we raced it in the Pro Atlantic Series from through 81.
Wow. I'll tell you, the car is certainly gorgeous. Larry must be doing some great things with this car, huh?
Well, he put it together quite nice. And it's got a lot of stuff that was on it back when we ran it. My sister made the head pad for me, and I had my mom's nail polish marking the bias control on the front dashboard and all.
Wow, wow. I'll tell you, I don't know what the magic is with you, but every time I come here, you're driving a fast car.
Well, that's what we like, to go fast, you know? Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we talked to Larry since, when did we come up? 2005, I think. Yep. And he told me then, he says, well, I'm going to get it together. You're going to be the only one that drives it, so don't worry about it.
Wow, I'll tell you, I got to catch this disease because you guys are having far too much fun.
Well, you sort of got it. You're here every time.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
I want to be in there, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah. Well, somebody might let you in somewheres.
So what group you in today?
We're in group 10.
10, yeah.
Fast open wheelers, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, every time I come here, he's in a fast car.
He's the guy I want in it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I have to commend you, Larry. You just do an outstanding job, and Rick, too. You always look great out in that racetrack. And we're going to have to take some pictures of you out there and keep track of how you do.
Sure. Well, we got one session today, and tomorrow we're out 3 different times. And Monday we got 2 races.
Wow. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, be busy.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
Quick runs, though.
You're always excellent, Larry.
Nice
Thank
talking
you.
with you.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Yes, we have John Harden with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous Hoffacker Genie, which I'll tell you, I never seen one before, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
Yes, this is the first Genie made. There were about 10 of these cars built in the 63, 64, 65. They were a US RRC car. They were dominant for about 14 months, and then they were obsolete because the McLaren came along and Lola came along. But when they were during their first year in being, they won many races both on the East Coast and on the West Coast. Don Skogmo drove them back here. A number of people drove them back here. This happens to be the first Mark 8 built. It belonged to a man named Dave Ridenauer, who was killed in 1967 in a sprint car accident. But it's the first mid-engine car with an American V8 built in series anywhere in the world. Prior to that, they were taking European cars, Lotuses, Coopers, and putting American V8s in them, but not building it from scratch. And Joe Huffaker built these cars from scratch.
Now, were these like a pre-Can-Am car?
Yes, it is. The USRRC was the United States Road Racing Championship, which ended in about 64, and in 65 the Can-Am series started, and it's really where the Can-Am series came from.
So, I mean, was this car raced in that Can-Am series at all?
This car raced in a couple of Can-Am races. Most of them were obsolete by the time 65 came along. They couldn't keep up with the McLarens and the Lolas, but a few of them did race on into the 60s and 70s, yes.
Boy, I'll tell you, this car is gorgeous.
Thank you.
I just can't get over how pretty it is.
It really is.
And I'll bet you it's a hoot to drive.
It's a boot to drive. It's 1,600 pounds and over 500 horsepower, so it's a boot to drive.
Standing on the gas gets interesting.
Yes, it does. Yes, it'll come down this hill about 150 miles an hour.
Wow, wow. Well, I'll tell you, we're certainly going to keep an eye out there for you because I got a feeling you're going to get around this place. And I have to commend you. The car is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for having a word with us.
No, you're very welcome.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
You were excellent.
No, no.
Yes, we have Bill Shields with us with this gorgeous 1964 MGB, and I bet you know a little bit about this car, Bill.
Well, this car has been a race car since 1968, and it's basically been a Pennsylvania hill climb car. In fact, it's run every Duryea hill climb since 1968, and there aren't many cars that have a history like that. And I bought the car in 1995 from my friend who raced it all those years, and then we've brought the car vintage racing, but we still enjoy hill climbs, and it's about the most exciting thing you can do in 2 minutes and 20 seconds and live through it.
Yeah, I've heard, I've never gone to one, but I've heard that people love them.
Well, it's sort of like being in a fist fight and coming out of it clean, you know. By the time it's over and you get to the finish line, you don't even know what happened. The last thing you know is that you let the clutch out, you left the starting line, and here you are at the finish line.
Wow. Now, where's your closest road course in Pennsylvania?
Well, we used to race at Pocono, really not much of a road course. But I'm from the Reading, Pennsylvania area, and within 2 years we'll have a track called Liberty Bell, which will be just east of Reading towards Philadelphia. And it's on 500 and some acres, and it's definitely on the way to being developed. So it's going to be 10 minutes from my house. I can't wait.
Wow, that's going to be great is right. Yeah, it's always nice. We live about an hour from the track here, but we love this place.
Well, this is like a park. This is a wonderful racetrack. I've never had the opportunity to race here yet. I had one ride around the track when my daughter did her race school here a couple of years ago, and I can't wait. We're the next group out after this one, and I hope I can find my way around.
Oh, I got a feeling you're going to be fine. We want to thank you for having a word with us, and I'm sure you're going to do well here this weekend, but I think you're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Well, you know, the strangest thing is I'm taking advice from my daughter on how to do this. Every place else we go, I have over 100 events in the car, so I school her on what to do. Now here she is telling me what to do. You have to put your tail between your legs and listen sometimes.
Well, sometime you got to do that. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
You've been great.
Okay.
And good luck.
It's nice to talk to you.
Nice talking to you. Yes, we have DJ Stern with us, owns this gorgeous MG. I got to tell you, this car is stunning, and I think you know a little bit about this car, DJ.
I've had this car since 1966.
1966, wow.
Those are the days when you could buy a car like this for $200 because it was a used car. It wasn't a vintage, it wasn't antique, it was just old.
Now tell me, when did you start racing it?
I started racing this car in the mid-70s. I started racing in the mid-60s.
So back then it wasn't vintage, it was just a regular class.
This car raced in SCCA as an H production car. They dropped the car from the class about 84, 86 because there were none around that were racing competitively, and they'd all kind of converted to vintage. And so
Wow.
we're the last of the...
Now, do you go to different events in the country?
I try to. I haven't been terribly successful the last couple of years. My writing career has taken me elsewhere, so I've been doing book signings throughout the country and can't bring the car and the books.
No. You got to make some money, though, you know?
It helps in this game.
Now, tell me, where are you from, D?
Well, I live in Newport, Rhode Island.
Wow. That's a beautiful area. Now, there's no track near there, right?
This is the closest track, and there's also a track in New Hampshire International Speedway.
Have you gone to the vintage event there?
I have a couple of times, and I've been able to go out to Pittsburgh. I was at Monterey last year for a vintage event, but not the big event. So I try to keep my finger in it as much as I can.
Now tell me, the track at New Hampshire, do you like it?
It's very hard on the car. There's a lot. I mean, I love the old course, which is called Briar, and that was really designed for sports cars. There are too many compromises in New Hampshire, a lot of transitions from one kind of surface to another, from the road course onto the oval, And with this kind of car, it's a little too fragile.
Yeah, they don't like, changing. You just want a nice steady pace. And I think cars like this love Limerock.
Well, it's a beautiful track. It's easy to drive. It's easy on the car. I only shift twice a lap, and I use my brakes once. So how good does it get?
No, it doesn't get any better than that. Well, I'll tell you, we're anxious to see you out in that racetrack, and I got a feeling you're going to do well. But I also think you're going to have a little fun here.
Fun is the name of the game, and doing well is a relative. Our class has got cars, everything from a 34 Alfa Romeo Grand Prix type car down to something like my MG. So it's a very eclectic group and a lot of fun.
I'll tell you, I'm just like a kid in a candy store here. I don't know what to look at next. I mean, no matter where you look, there's something good.
Yeah, there were beautiful cars here, and there was really nice people. It's developed a camaraderie level that I think doesn't exist in a lot of other sports, especially in motorsports. You just have to watch what happens in NASCAR to see there's a very little goodwill, shall we say. Of course, they're racing for a little bit more than we are.
Yeah, they are, and you're right. Over here, it's fun, and you know what? They're here to have fun.
Right, and you don't want to abuse the privilege of Medicare, so most of us are careful.
I like that. Well, I want to thank you.
Thank
You
you,
were
Larry.
great, and we can't wait to see you out in that racetrack.
Well, I'll put on a good show, I hope. Thank you once again.
You were great. Yes, I have Rob Burt with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous Aston Martin. I'll tell you, I have never seen one like this, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
Well, that's true, Larry. I do. I've known this particular car for about 15 years. It belonged to a very good friend of mine for many years, and he kept it in France. It's a 1938 Aston Martin 2-litre short chassis. It was rebodied from a touring body to the more sort of racing style Ulster body. And I've had it for a while and enjoy driving it here at Limerock and certainly other places too. The beauty of these old Astons is that you can actually drive them on the road or you can race them. They're very easy to drive and very easy to drive quite quickly. They are the very low center of gravity. They have an underslung suspension, or the chassis is underslung into the suspension, so they corner very well. They don't have a lot of horsepower. It's only a 2-litre engine making probably about 125 horsepower. So when you race the car, you've got to get the speed up and carry the momentum around.
Momentum around.
That's right, yeah.
I'll tell you, this car is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I've seen some cars, but boy, I'll tell you, I don't know who restored this car, but they did an excellent job.
They did do a beautiful job. It was done in the England, in the UK rather, by a coach builder, and it's not a new restoration. What you're looking at is basically 15 years old, and since the restoration was done, the car has raced in France, Mallorca, the UK, and the USA. So it lives a very active life. It's not a garage queen. It does get prepared once a year for the Aston Martin Concours, which is held here in Connecticut. And that, other than that, it's on the road and it lives an active life.
Wow, I'll tell you, I'm very impressed. I can't wait to see you out in this racetrack. What group are you in today?
Group 1 with the pre-war cars.
With the pre-war cars, yeah. That's becoming my favorite group, I'll tell you.
Well, there's a marvelous selection of cars there today, including Peter Giddings in his beautiful Alfa Romeo, which will clearly win the race. But there are some other lovely cars out there, and I urge you to go seek them out, because this is just one of them.
Okay, now is this the only car you're involved with under this tent?
No, I'm also driving the Cooper T51 Grand Prix car behind you, and that's going to be placed in Group 2 today. That's a very different kettle of fish, as it were.
That's more exciting.
It's quite a bit quicker.
I bet. Well, Rob, we want to thank you for the interview and wish you luck. And I can't really wait to see you out there. This car is just gorgeous, and the Cooper is a favorite car of mine. I don't know if you know it or not. In the beginning of our show, we have footage from Limerock up here, and for years that car has been in the beginning of our show in the opening.
Oh, is that right? I had no idea. My car or just a Cooper?
No, that car.
That car.
Actually, at the end of the show, it shows you coming out of here and driving away.
Okay, well, wonderful. And, well, we'll try and do a good job for you guys today.
Absolutely. We know you're going to do good, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Take care. You were excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Limerock faithful were out in full strength as the weather was just absolutely gorgeous, and this event has really become something special. I'll tell you, every year it seems like it gets better and better. There's things for the kids to do, and I mean, it's just an outstanding event. I just can't stress enough and hope I get through to the viewers here to come out and see what this event is all about. It is just something that you're going to thoroughly enjoy, and it's completely a family event. I hope everybody liked the show, and please come back next week for our next episode of Racing Action Today. This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Thanks to the Racing Action Today crew, Dwayne Cody, Bill Majak, David Seidlinger, and Lisa Backus. And also we want to thank our home station, Nutmeg TV, for all their support and all the great things they do. We want to thank R&M Recyclers in New Britain, Connecticut for all their support. And also we want to thank PBF, Pryor Brothers Fabricating in Berlin, Connecticut, for all the great things they do and all the wonderful support they give us. And last of all, we want to thank Just Results Weight Loss Center at their brand new facility in Plainville, Connecticut, for all the great things they do.